friends, I wanted to share with you guys a quick and easy dessert, a Filipino dessert actually, and it is called Champorado. Now, Champorado is a bit different than the Mexican Champorado. With us, Champorado refers to the sweet rice. So it comes in a package like this. Sweet rice can also be called sticky rice. So it's a lot, like it says, sweet rice, it's a lot more stickier than the regular fine grain rice. And it also has a sweetness and flavor to it. So I added about 4 cups for this particular recipe, but 4 cups is actually a lot. The reason that I use 4 cups is I'm dividing it into 2 different flavors of champorado. So I had 4 cups onto a pan, and then I rinsed it really well, maybe about 4 times. Just water, rinse it, dump the water, add water again, and then go through it with your hands to make sure that you get the dirt out and such. Here's my pan, and it's on very low heat because it does burn onto the bottom of the pan real easily. And I added, with this 4 cups, I added 1 can of coconut milk. You can also add coconut cream if you wanted, but I always just add coconut milk. And then I also add about just a cup of water. I mixed it together and then added about a teaspoon of salt onto it. So I'm gonna gradually put this on low heat and gradually mix it every few minutes, because otherwise it will stick to the bottom of the pan. And once it dries out, I can either add more of the coconut milk or I can just add a little bit of water to it. But see how it's already starting to thicken, and I've had this in here for only about maybe 5 minutes. So just constantly stir it. Alright, it has doubled in size. And then if you feel like it's actually getting a bit dry, then you can either add some more water or more coconut milk, or just a regular milk that's in your refrigerator. Because we are not really flavoring it just yet. We're just cooking the grain, the rice grain. And you can tell that it's cooked when you bite into it, and it's really soft and tender. So this is how you cook sticky rice. It's basically just like cooking regular rice, but you're adding some sweetener to it with the coconut milk or with the regular milk. And once you have it cooked like this, it's very versatile. You can make so many dishes with just this part of it. If you guys like Thai food and there's sticky rice over mango over sticky rice, this is exactly how they make the sticky rice. You can just have it as is, just like this, and then slice up some very ripe mangoes and then add some coconut milk on the top, and then you have yourself a very delicious Thai dessert. In Filipino dessert, we have Champorado, which is basically sweet rice chocolate pudding, and that's what I'm going to show you guys today. But I'm going to cut this recipe in half, so I'm going to use part of it for the traditional sweet rice chocolate pudding Champorado, but then on the other half I'm going to show you guys how I make my ube Champorado. Almost cooked. I'm going to go ahead and add about a 1/3 cup of sugar. Now I'm just eyeballing everything because it is not an exact ingredient recipe. You don't need to be exact with anything. You just got to be exact with making sure of cooking the sweet rice and making sure that it is soft. Otherwise, any kind of rice, when you don't cook it thoroughly, it's crunchy. It's hard in your teeth, in your mouth. So you just got to make sure to cook it until it's really soft. But if it's dry, add more water, add more liquid of whatever you're choosing is. The milk, the coconut milk, will already add a bit of a sweetener to it, and then later on when you finish it off, you'll also be adding more sweetening to it, so you don't really need a whole lot of sugar when you're cooking the rice. So this is almost ready for me to separate. Now I'm going to show you guys how I'm going to make it into different types of champorado that I make for the family. So the first one is the traditional chocolate champorado that calls for cocoa powder, and I also like to add bittersweet chocolate to mine. So for this amount, I added about 2 cups of the sweetened rice, I will add half a cup of bittersweet chocolate and then half a cup of the cocoa powder onto one batch. And then on the other batch, I'm going to make ube champorado, and that's not a very traditional or common champorado. It's something that I've come up with. I'm not even sure if there is a recipe, because there's a recipe here of the ube recipe that I have. Now with that ube recipe, I have mentioned that I do freeze it, and then you can add it on top of ice creams, on top of desserts, within bread itself. So there's a lot of ube recipes that we have in the Philippines. It's mixed in with the bread recipes. You can have a regular typical bread, add on your ube halaya onto that, and then there goes our ube bread. You can put ube with macarons, which I do. You can add ube halaya onto almost anything. So now I figured I might might as well add it onto champorado. I've done this a couple times. I like it because I love the taste of ube. The family likes it as well. So with this, with adding the ube, there's no really a good perfect amount. You just add it on to taste as much as along with the cocoa and the bittersweet. You don't have to add bittersweet. I like to add it because I think it adds a lot of the chocolate taste to it. Some champorado recipes just calls for cocoa powder. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that, and then I'm gonna show you guys how I mix it. So here's the traditional chocolate champorado. I'm gonna go ahead and also add about a quarter, it's already bubbling, a quarter of evaporated milk onto that. And then I'm gonna mix it. It's on very low heat so that I don't burn the chocolate. Mix that really well. I have gone ahead and turned off the stove. I have an electric stove, so there's still heat being applied to the pot. So I'm gonna go ahead and keep stirring. And already I can smell, this is a very sweet dessert. We usually have this for breakfast, but we also have it for merienda. Merienda is our typical afternoon snack, just like the Spaniards. So just mix this for a little bit, and then I'm gonna put this aside and then work on my ube champorado. Alright, so I've gone ahead and mix it in here. So it's at the bottom, and all I'm doing is just incorporating the ube halaya along with the sweetened rice. Again, this is on very, very low heat. The ube halaya is already cooked, and then the sweetened rice is basically almost totally cooked. It's just got another like maybe 5 minutes to it, and it's just basically incorporating it all together. I'm also going to add some evaporated milk in here. And that is about a quarter of a cup. Alright friends, it's basically all done. And I also wanted to share that I also added just a little drop of the violet color in there, because ube is supposed to be a deep violet in color. So I like to have that color consistency with my ube dishes. But it is basically done. I have the ube champorado, and then I also have the traditional chocolate porridge champorado. And champorado is exactly what that means, it's rice porridge. Alright friends, there we go. We have the traditional champorado of chocolate rice porridge, and then I have my version of ube champorado, which is just the ube rice porridge. And when you serve it, you want to serve it hot or cold, but I prefer it hot. Now if it's in the refrigerator, all you have to do is just add some, I like to add half and half. And if it's cold, go ahead and microwave it for a good maybe 30 seconds or a minute together like that. It'll come out really nice and warm, and all you got to do is mix it in. Or if you just take it out of the stove, you could also just add your half and half. And a lot of people also add evaporated milk or condensed milk to it, or sprinkle some sugar. And this is why we don't flavor it too much with the sweetness while cooking the champorado, is because afterwards when you're ready to serve it, that's when you flavor it with more of either the half and half, the condensed milk, or the evaporated milk, or a little bit of extra sugar. It's a great breakfast, traditional Filipino breakfast, or a merienda, which is an afternoon snack. I hope you guys enjoyed this Filipino recipe. As always, thank you guys for watching A Simply Simple Life. Mahalo! I like to really mix it in there. Absorb all that ube with the half and half. Delicious.